Hi guys. Hi. Hi everyone. Hi. Yay. All right. I'm going to give everyone 2 more minutes to join us just to make sure we're not missing anyone. And then we're going to start. And this is what we're painting today. Sorry guys, sometimes my camera for some reason doesn't pick up the color, the vibrancy of color very well. It actually is in real life way more vibrant. I'm not sure why it's not picking it up as much today. All right, 1 more minute and then we'll start. So just make sure you have everything that you need. Hi. All right, 3:05. Hopefully everyone was able to join us, and who is not able to join us now, hopefully they will be able to join us later, because this video is going to stay up right on our YouTube channel pretty much forever. So if you guys have to go somewhere, or you can do it right now but you really want to do it, you can do it later too. That's no problem. There is no time limit to when you can and cannot do this. Thank you. I love them too. They're so much fun. All right, so let's go through our supplies to make sure we have everything that we need for today. First thing you're going to need is a canvas. I am using big 16 by 20 inch canvas. You can go smaller if you want, it doesn't have to be that big. And also, if you're wondering whether we're going to start with white canvas or black, we're starting with a white canvas. Next thing you're going to need is water, so make sure you have that. Then we are going to need palette, something to mix our paint on. Then we're going to need a pencil if you have it. But if you don't, that's okay. You can use just a brush and a paint. It doesn't have to be a pencil. Then we're going to need a couple different brushes. I'm going to be using pretty standard set today, large, medium, and small. However, medium here is not very necessary. You could do it with just a large and small, because the whole background is going to be done with a big brush, and our little humans are going to be done with this brush. Medium brush would only be used for this grass here, but again, you can always use a large brush for that. It doesn't have to be medium. So medium is very optional. So make sure you have a couple different size brushes, or at least two, big and detailed brush. And of course, we're going to need paint. I will be using primary colors only. So in my case, I'm not even going to use all primaries, because primaries are yellow, blue, red, black, and white. So I'm not going to be using yellow today at all. I'm just going to be using blue, black, and white, and red. And I'll be mixing them into all shades of this. However, if you guys have pinks or purples, you're absolutely free to use them. You don't have to have just primaries. So if you want to use premixed, go for it. What else? I don't think there's anything else. Oh, paper towel. We're going to need a paper towel. So grab that. I have a paper towel right here. So that's important. Oh, now guys, make sure you have all that ready. Okay, so now what are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? We're going to start with our background. We're going to start with this part. We're going to build it from light to dark. So we're going to start with pinks. Then we're going to move to saturated, more saturated pinks, then purples, then darker purples, then super dark purples, and black. After that, on our background, we're gonna add a little bit of blues here, so just a touch, and some splatter as well. And also we're gonna add splatter in pink. Once we have that base of the background, we're gonna move on to our couple and a grass. So after that, I would actually recommend, if you guys maybe just starting painting, or if you just like it perfect, what you might want to do is wait until your background is fully dry and sketch your couple with a pencil first. That way you can erase any potential mistakes here. Yay. Okay, so you can, if you let your background dry before sketching your couple, you can erase any mistakes and resketch it as many times as needed, and only after that go with the black. Because we're doing it live, I'm not going to be sketching it with pencil. I'm just going to be going right ahead with my paint. But again, since you will have access to a video for an unlimited amount of time after that, and you're not in a rush, you could always let it dry and then do the couple from the video. It's just safer that way. Or you can do it along with me with paint. That's totally fine. And once we have our couple and our grass on the bottom, then we're going to move on to all those shooting stars on the sky, and we'll add a little highlights here as well. So very first thing we're going to do here now is we're going to put some paint on our palette. I'm going to put all the colors. So I'm going to put white, I'm going to put blue, and I'm going to put my red. Guys, if you have choice between pink and red, for this particular painting, go with pink. If you are using pre-mixed colors, then you can put pink, purple, blue, and black and white on your palette. If you're using primaries, pink or red, blue, black and white. If you have choice between pink or red or orange or red, go with pink or red. My red is magenta based, which is what you want for mixing purple. Orangey based red is not going to give you beautiful purple, so it's best to have more like a pinky based red. So let's just put all that on our palette. And of course, you can customize a couple of kids however you want. All right, so I have my paint, black, blue, white, red. And I'm gonna grab my biggest brush, so this one. I'm gonna dip it in the water, and I'm gonna mix my first color. So that's gonna be the lightest color in your painting. So whichever color you would prefer to be the lightest, that's the one you're gonna go with. For me, it's gonna be, I would say, medium to light pink. So again, I'm just gonna grab white, a little bit of pink or red, mix them up, and that's my color. But if you guys wanna modify it and use some other color, that's okay too. You don't have to use exactly that color. Whatever color you prefer to have as your base color, as your lightest color, you can go with that one. All right, I think this would be perfect for my first color. So take a look. And once I have that color, I'm gonna start coloring in the very middle of my canvas, and I'm gonna do it in a brushstrokey way. So let me show you how. I'm gonna start somewhere around here, and I'm gonna do it like this. So I'm not gonna be afraid of a brushstrokiness. And use some water too. You don't want to use It's not like a dry brushing technique. You want to cover that area pretty well. And we're going to add a bit more than what we want to see in the end, only because the rest of the colors, we're going to overlap. All right, so this is what it looks like. If yours looks a little different, that's okay. Again, it doesn't have to be exact same color for you. And another thing, don't leave too much empty space on the bottom because we can always add grass overlapping the pink. But if you leave a little bit too much on the bottom right now, we will have to bring grass up to this area. And you want to give yourself ability to make a bit less grass or a bit more grass. So alternatively, you can even color it all the way to the bottom. That would be fine too. That wouldn't be a mistake. All right. Once we have this, we're going to move on to a brighter pink and slightly purple color. So what I'm going to do, this was my first color right here. Because I ran out, I'm going to mix a little bit more of the same color first. If you already have some left, you don't have to mix it again. So this was maybe a little bit darker. This was the first color I used, right? Now to the same color, I'm going to grab a bit more of my magenta based red, and you see it got brighter. And to the same color, I'm going to add just the tiniest smidge of blue. Do you see how little? Very little, because you don't want it to turn full on purple. You just want it to have like a hint of purple. And with this color that is just a little bit pinker and it has a hint of purple, I'm going to go around this. I'm going to add a couple of brush strokes around in exact same motion, following the circular shape. And now I'm going to overlap it going in the middle towards the middle of this pink. And you see, because our pink is still wet, they blend really nicely. But also, you want it to be slightly brush strokey. You don't want it to blend perfectly. We are really hoping for this brush strokiness here. And then right away, I'm going to wash off my brush. And while this is still wet, I'm going to, on the same big brush, grab just a little bit of white. And I'm going to go from this middle out, brush stroking in exact same pattern, following the circular motion. I'm adding combination of brush strokes. And again, I don't want a perfect smooth blending. I do want it somewhat be getting more like an ombre kind of gradient here, but also I don't want it perfectly blended. I just want this to be a little bit lighter. That's pretty much all I want here. And I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes to do this. I can't give you too much because we have to move on to the next colors while this is still super wet, but I can give you another minute, no problem. Just let me know when you have it. Give me thumbs up, say in chat, good to go, ready, and so on. And then I'll show you what is next here. All right. Put this one lower too. Good to go. Good. That's awesome, guys. Ready? Yes. All right. I'm going to move it back again. Ready? Okay, that's good. Perfect. So now we're going to move on to much purpler colors. So what I'm going to do is to the same color, if you still have enough of it left, you're just going to add a little bit of blue. If not, you can again make this color just so you have enough and then add some blue to it so it gets much more purple, visibly purple. Because before it was like a hint of purple, now we actually want it purple. So I added some blue, and I'm actually going to add a little bit more red too to darken it up again. But do you see now it's visibly purple? So again, not very dark though. We're going to go darker later. Now with this color, do you see the difference? This is what it looks like. I'm going to go around it first with the same large brush strokes in the same kind of pattern. And once I added some of that on the outer side, I'm going to start adding it onto my existing colors here. You see, I'm just overlapping those brush strokes. The only thing here, don't use too much paint because you don't want them blobby. You want them nice and somewhat semi-transparent. And if you take too much paint on your brush, you might end up with a quite of blobby brush strokes, which you don't want that. So don't use too much paint. All right. So this is what it looks like with purple. And from here on, we're only going to go darker and darker and darker and darker. So for my next color, I'm just going to go darker. To the same color I just used, I'm going to add way more red and a little bit more blue. Blue is a bossier color, so you don't need equal parts of red and blue because blue will overtake it and it's going to turn into blue. You're not even going to see your red in it. So you just have to add lots more red and a touch more blue. And it got darker, so do you see the difference? This is my next purple. So basically we're not adding any more white at this point. And again, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to go around. And also, I'm going to blend in. I'm going to overlap a couple of brush strokes as well. And again, when you guys have it, let me know, but no rush. If you need a bit more time, that's totally fine. No rush at all. The goal is just mostly to have it from light to dark and have a couple different colors so it doesn't look all like one color gradient, which we could have done. We could have done just like from light blue to dark blue or from light pink to red and so on, but we are trying to incorporate a couple different colors. So if you can incorporate a couple different shades of purple, that would be the best too. The more shades of purple you can fit in here, the better. And if some of it turns out a little too pink or a little too blue, that actually is in your favor, because the more different shades you have here, the better for this painting. All right, I'll show you what's next once we get a couple good to goes. Yay, I'm glad. I'm glad it's working well for you. I see some good to go. That's good. I see a couple. As ready as you can be, perfect. That's exactly what we need. All right, so I'm gonna move to my darkest purple here. And I'm just gonna, to the same color I just used, I'm gonna add even more red and more blue. Just make sure you don't add any white to it. And it's gonna be pretty dark. And you can add a little bit more blue this time. Do you see how dark it looks? It almost looks black, but it's not black. This is black, but it's really, really dark. And this time you can add just a little bit more blue than previous time, so it gets a little bit colder in color as well. And with this, I'm gonna finish. I'm gonna color in all those corners. So we're still gonna add black, but black we're gonna overlap. And of course, I'm gonna bring a couple of brush strokes in as well. The dogs, they are cute. Thank you. Those doggers. Need a bit more red here. Alright guys, so this is almost finished background. We're gonna add a little bit more black, and then we're gonna add a couple of brush strokes in like a medium blue. But at least we have everything covered up now. So again, I'm gonna give you another minute, and then once you have it, say good to go, I'm ready, and so on, and then I'll show you next steps. In the meantime, I'm just gonna move one of my lights to see if I can get rid of this glare. That's better. All right, so just let me know when you're ready, and then we'll move to next step, but no rush, guys. All right, couple people are ready. That's good. All right, I see a couple more readies. That's great. Okay, so once we have that, we're gonna go back to our big brush and we're gonna grab straight black, but not a lot of it. So wash off your brush, then grab just a little bit of, well, maybe not just a little bit, but not a lot, not a whole much. And I'm gonna add a couple brush strokes of black, but really close to the edges of my canvas. Still follow the same shape and movement of brush strokes. Don't change that. Don't start going horizontal or vertical. Continue with the same movement that you did before, but only add black around the edges and the corners. And another thing we could all do right away is you can grab a bit more black now on your brush and you can color all the edges. I'm not going to be coloring this edge, but only because I'm holding my painting so much that it's going to end up on my hand versus on my painting. So, but I will color the top. And if you're not holding your canvas, I would highly recommend that you do side edges as well. You don't have to do bottom because we haven't painted that side yet, but it is good to finish up the edges that we already painted around. So if your painting goes to the edge, wrap black around the edge right away. Best way to do it. And I'm going to do this edge too, just because I'm not going to be holding my canvas there. I'm only going to be holding it on the other side. All right, and I will leave this one uncovered for now. And again, when you guys have it, give me thumbs up, but no rush. And then we're gonna move on to adding a couple of brush strokes in blue on the front and some splatter. Good, thank you. Aw, thank you. That's nice. Ready? That's good. Looks 3D, it should be. That's a good sign if it does. Thank you. Alrighty, guys. I think we can add some blue now. So, again, I'm gonna grab my big brush and I'm gonna wash it off. And then I'm gonna grab a little bit of blue, put it here, and a little bit of white and mix them in. And I'll make, I would say, medium blue-ish. It shouldn't be too dark, but it shouldn't be too light either. So this should be just the right color, I think. But again, there is no way to know until you try it. So we're gonna try it and see. And if it needs to be adjusted, we will adjust it. So where I'm gonna add it, in this area. You don't wanna add it too high up, you don't wanna add it too low down. And you're only gonna do it very lightly, so just scraping the surface of your canvas. Don't use too much paint, don't have your brush too wet. This is good. I think I could do this color and lighter color too. So I'm just gonna add a couple very light brush strokes. Do you see? They don't look blobby, but only because I'm touching it very, very lightly. And that's what you want that light touch. And then right away, I'm gonna make a lighter one. So I'm just gonna add a tiny more smidge of white to the same paint. And I'm gonna add just a little bit of it in light. Oh, this is great. It's a good color. But again, very lightly. Do you see how transparent my brush strokes are? Super transparent. Only because I'm using like a very, very tiny bit of paint on my brush. And then you can splatter a little with one of those colors, either lighter or darker, completely up to you. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna water down my paint and I'm gonna grab a brush full of that paint. I'm gonna make a bit more because I don't have much left. You see, I have a brush full of it. So it's not just like on the end, it's all the way into the bristles of my brush. And I'm gonna put my canvas like this. Oops. I'm gonna do this. For this to work, your paint has to be really, really wet. If your paint is not watered down enough, it's not gonna work. So make sure you really, really, really water down your paint. You see? Lots and lots of beautiful splatter. And you could go a little lighter or a little darker. All that is good. There's no particular color that you have to have there. Thanks, guys. I am all covered in paint. This is like my painting shirt because once this paint dries, it doesn't come off. So it's there to stay. No matter how many times you wash it, it's just all clothes eventually become a painting clothes. That's just how it goes. I'm sure you guys are aware of that. All right, so do the splatter, and then as soon as you have the splatter, do a little cleanup because splatter is a funny thing. It goes places where you don't want it to go, no matter how careful you are. So as soon as you have it, look at your surroundings and see, did paint get on places where it shouldn't get? And if it did, wipe it off right away because while the paint is still wet, it's going to come off perfectly fine. You shouldn't have a problem removing it. But once it dries, that's a problem because it's there to stay. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to quickly look at my floors and see if any paint, unwanted paint, went onto my floors. I'm going to wipe it off, and I'll give you guys a minute to do the same. All right, damage control done. Definitely can be space, absolutely. Good, it is pretty doable. Thanks, guys. All right, once you have this, give me a thumbs up, and then we're gonna move to our next step. Here's a closer look. Good to go, done, awesome. And also cool, we're from so many different places. This is awesome. All over the world. Thank you. Okay, guys, so next step, we're gonna add some pink. So again, we're gonna grab big brush. We're gonna grab some red and white, mix them up. I'm gonna grab some white here, grab some red, mix them up. Any shade of pink will do, completely up to you which shade of pink you decide to go with. Again, water it down a lot. And we'll do the same thing again. Splatter, 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 splatter. So this is pretty much what it looks like after we splattered with pink. Alternatively, you could splatter it with purple. That's okay too. Any color that you either already have on your painting or any compatible color, you can use to splatter. So completely up to you. But in my case, I want to do pink. And as you can see, it's fairly light. What paint brand I'm using? I'm using Starred Acrylics. So this is what I'm using here. And I am not British, I'm actually Russian. Splattering is fun. Well, actually I'm Canadian, but I am Russian as well. And again, guys, once you have your splattering, do a cleanup. See if paint got places where you don't want it to go, and if it did, clean it up right away before it dries. Now, after this, we're going to move on to our grass and our couple. So again, as I mentioned earlier, if you guys really love it so far and you don't want to mess it up and you would rather stay on the side of caution, I would say let it dry up. So just hang out with me, see how the end of this painting goes so you know what to expect, but let it dry, don't do it yet. And once it dries, grab a pencil and sketch a couple of kids right here with a pencil. You cannot sketch it on wet, and the reason why is technically you can't sketch it on wet. It's just there's no point because you're not going to be able to erase the paint if you're erase the pencil if your paint is still wet. So that's why you have to wait until it dries fully. However, if you feel like, nope, I can do this with paint, I don't need a pencil sketch, no problem, then you can follow me along and do it now with me. So totally up to you. And again, the video will stay up here so you can do it anytime. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab a separate piece of paper or maybe even the back of this canvas, and I'm going to show you how to do couple on a separate area first, not here. So just to watch me. And then once I finished showing you how to do it somewhere else, then we're all going to go and paint it right here on this section. All right. So again, as you can see, I have a couple of kids here. They're pretty young, and it's a boy and a girl. Totally up to you. You can customize it. If let's say you have two kids and they're both girls and you want to just like have a family, you want to have your children painted here, you could do that too. You could switch it. You can customize it however you want. If you want to have more like a romantic painting or like cutesy romantic, not romantic at that age, of course. Totally customize it. You can keep it exactly this way. You can change it if you want to add maybe 2 adults and 2 kids. And again, customize it for your family. Go for it. Whatever you want to do with it. But I'm going to show you how to paint this particular 2 kids. So what I'm going to start with here, I'm going to start with my boy. And I'm going to start with a head. So I'm going to position a body and a head. Then I'm going to turn the head into actual shape, add a neck and a hand. And then I'm going to turn to the girl, and I'm going to do it in a very similar way. I'm going to start with the simple shapes. I'm going to put simple shape here, and only after that I'm going to rework them and turn them into proper shape. So let me try to get my canvas as close to you as possible so you can see it a little better here. And I'm going to grab my small brush and black paint. And let's say this is our bottom. And I'm going to make them a little bit bigger right now than they should be, just so you can see it a little better. So I'm going to start with the boy. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a body. So it's going to look something like this. You see around the top, a bit thicker, and then thinner on the bottom. Very, very simple shape. Nothing complicated. A little bit higher up, here, I'm going to add a circle. And a circle in width should be wider than this, or maybe almost the same. So it looks like exclamation mark right now, which is exactly what it should look like. After I have it looking like that, I'm going to start working on a head. And I'm going to start by adding the hair. So towards the side, just going to add this. And a little flick here. Then I'm gonna add a nose. Do you see I added like a curved line? Straight and out. And I'm gonna color it in so it doesn't look confusing. Now I'm gonna add a neck. I'll bring this a little higher. I'm gonna color that in too. And then I can add a hand. From here, out. Now it's time to sketch our girl. So with a girl, I'm gonna have her a little bit shorter. She's not gonna be as tall. So the head is gonna go a little lower. And the body is gonna be different shape because she's wearing dress. So it's not gonna be thinner on the bottom and thicker on top. It's gonna be the other way around. It's gonna be thinner on top, thicker on the bottom. So, and make sure you leave a bit of space in between of them. I would say the same amount as the end of hand to the body. From this hand to here is going to be the same amount, and we're going to position her here. So her shoulders are going to be a bit lower too. So if his body started here, her body, I'm going to start somewhere around here, just so she's a little bit shorter, so they're not the same height. Which if you make them the same height, that would be totally fine too. So we're going to start again with a very simple shape for the body. Super simple. After that, I'm going to add a face. So again, it's going to be a circle. It's going to be about the same in width as we started with our boy here, but it's just going to be a little bit lower than his. So I'm going to put it somewhere right here. Again, only for the purpose of them not being exact same height. And now I'm going to start reworking it. So I'm going to start with her hair. And I'm going to give her bangs. So I'm going to extend this a little bit. Right there. And I'm going to bring her back hair down right here. Now I'm going to rework the face and I'm going to add a nose. So do you remember how we added a line down and out here? We're going to do something similar here. So it's going to be down and out. And we're going to bring it in. And once I have that, I'm going to color in her face too. Just so I have both of them colored in. Again, just so it doesn't look confusing. And now I'm going to add hands. So this is pretty much it. This is our sketch for our boy and a girl. So now I'm going to do it here. Again, your guys either free to sketch it with a pencil once your canvas is dry, or follow me along and do it with paint. So I'm going to start by figuring out where the bottom is. So I would say the bottom is somewhere around here. That's where they're going to be positioned. And we can rework that later. We just need something to go based on. Now, I'm going to start with my boy. He's not going to be very big. This one is was dramatically bigger, just so you can see it better, but he's not going to be very big. He's going to be like this height, maybe like this. So, and don't put him right in the middle, put him a little bit on the right. So I'm going to start by putting the body. Something like this. Now once I have that, I'm going to add a head. Again, leave a bit of space for the neck, and the head should be either same size, the same width as the body, or a little bit bigger. Because as you know, adults and children have different ratio of head size to body size, and that's how usually you know how young or how old the person is how big their head is in comparison to their body. If the head is a little bit bigger, it's a younger person. If the head is a little smaller, it's more of an adult. All right, now I'm gonna add a hair. So from here, I'm gonna add this part. And just a tiny little one on the back. And after that, a line straight and out and in. And guys, because the video is going to stay up here forever, once we're done doing live event, you're going to be able to pause this as well. If you need to fix the image on your screen for a little longer, then I'm going to color it in. And then I'm going to add a neck. So right here. Of course, I'm going to color in his body too. And then I'm going to add a hand right here. So here we have our boy. Yeah, so I did them on the back so you guys know what to expect. I find that it's easier if you've seen it first, how it's done. You will make less mistakes and your proportions are going to come out better right away than if you just follow line by line, not knowing where we're going with it. So I usually prefer to show on the back of my canvas the full thing first, so you know what to expect. So your brain kind of maps it out for you. So when you start painting, your brain is going to know which proportions are correct. All right, so now I'm going to move on to my girl. Again, I'm going to leave a bit of space between them, and I'm going to start by putting her body. And again, I'm going to make her a little bit shorter. So I'm going to start not where I started his shoulders, like his shoulders I started right here, right? Her shoulders are going to be a little bit lower. I'm going to position her here. And again, I'm going to start with the body. It's going to be more narrow on top and wider on the bottom because she's wearing like a dress or a gown or a nightgown. I don't know what she's wearing. But something long. And after that, I'm going to add a head. Again, I'm going to leave some space in between. So I circle. After that, I'm gonna give her bangs. I'm gonna add them right here. And I'm gonna bring her hair lower. I'm gonna the neck and the nose. I'm gonna color in her face. And her body too. And of course, I'm gonna add a hand as well to hold the boy's hand. Ta-da! We have a boy and a girl. Yes, they are pretty cute. After that, I'm going to switch to my medium brush. And alternatively, you can use larger brush if you don't have medium brush. That's okay too. And I'm going to grab some black. And I'm going to add our grass here, but I'm going to add it slightly on an angle. So it's not super flat. So it's a little bit on an angle. I'm going to color in this whole bottom with black. Good. I'm glad you guys like it. And after that, I'm going to add some grass, slightly on an angle too. So what I'm going to do is in the top edge of my medium brush, I'm going to flick from the bottom up, slightly on an angle this way. Like this, to make it look a little bit grassier. And again, I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes. For those who are painting with me and following along right now, just let me know when you are ready, and then I'll show you next steps. I'm glad you like it. Ready, ready. That's good. All right. If we are ready, then we can continue and move on to our stars here. So I'm going to grab my small brush, wash it off really well, and I'm going to grab straight white paint. And with this white paint, I'm going to add some flicks. So they're going to be going in this section, and they're all going to be flicked from the left to the right. So all from one side to another, and they're going to be following the same movement that we had all the brush strokes here. And some of them can be longer, some of them can be shorter. Those are our shooting stars. All right, so this is pretty much what it looks like. And then to just a few of them, I'm going to add the actual star. So choose a couple. I'm going to go with this one. And from here, from this beginning of this brush strokes, I'm going to add a couple lines out. So do you see up, down, left, right, and then a couple more in between. That's one star. I'm going to add one random one right here. So the same way, from one dot, up, down, left, right, a couple ones in between. Maybe one more somewhere here. You can add as many as you want. If you want to have more of those, go for it. If you don't want to have them, that's okay too. You don't have to. But I find that it's good to have a couple. I might even add some more. Maybe like smaller ones. And then I'm going to add some dots on the top. So just a couple dots in white. Isn't this beautiful sky? And then after that, I'm gonna just a little bit of highlights around our children here with my smaller brush and some white paint. You don't have to fully outline them. You can just do a flick here, flick there, or you can completely skip this part. It's not crazy important for this painting. I don't know why your black has a hint of brown in it. It might be just different pigment, because the colors vary by brand, right? So maybe just the brand of paint that you're using has a little bit of different pigment pre-mixed into it. And then I'm gonna just a tiny touch, tiny little highlight on the grass as well. And after that, I'm gonna do something I wasn't able to do before, is I'm gonna finish this edge in black. Because do you see I painted this edge, but not this edge because I was holding my painting a lot of the time. So now is the time for me. I'm gonna grab my medium brush and I'm gonna paint it with black. You see now it looks really nice. And after this, guys, the only thing that's left for you is to sign it. So we are officially done. There are no more steps here. It's a really fun, fairly simple one. Yeah. If you want to go back and perfect it, you can add more colors to the stars. You can make shooting stars in all different colors. You can splatter more colors as well. You can splatter some white. You can splatter some yellow if you want to. Completely up to you. And the last thing I'm going to do here that I haven't done yet is I'm going to sign it. So I'm going to grab some paint and I'm going to put my initials right here. And after that, it is finished. Now, if you guys had fun and you want to share your results, I'm going to post a link in chat here where you can post the pictures. Let me quickly find it. Because we would love to see your results. We would love to see how it turned out. So I'm going to send you a link where you could do that. Where you can post your results. So you can post your results on event page for this particular event on our Facebook. I just sent you the link. Not yet. Once we finish, I'm gonna post a post there that just says thank you for joining and has a link to this video just in case someone wants to watch it later or paint it later. So in comments to that post, feel free to take photo and post it there. We would love to see them. And I would love to have them all in one spot as well, just for the convenience. And that way everyone who participated can also see how it turned out. And guys, if you don't follow us on YouTube yet, feel free to do that. We have a lot of free video tutorials coming up pretty much every week, so you can do that. And we also have already quite a few uploaded here, so you can look through what we have uploaded as well. All right. Okay, guys, so if no one has questions for me, I'm going to let you go. Thank you all for joining me. And please feel free to share your paintings with us. Bye, everyone.